So our album page looks like this. This is what we just finished working on with all our little elements. This is a flap. So when we open it back, this is the base page over here with the sleeve pocket. This is the back of our flap, and that's what we're going to work on next. So I have done some cutting and measuring, and I'm going to go over this. First, we're going to make a booklet. So get all the pieces for that. So this aside. So you need one piece that is 7 by 7.5 and one that is 7 by 7 to make the booklet. You're going to take your 7.5 inch piece. Mine got wrinkled up here. And you're going to score the 7.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch. And then you're going to fold and burnish that. Okay. This is going to super simple, easy photo booklet. The piece that is 7 by 7 is just going to glue right on top of that 1/2 inch, just like that. So we're going to take our glue, put it on our 1/2 inch, and line this up. The cut edge, since it's a square, it doesn't matter, but the cut edge right along that fold. Burnish. Lined up. Okay, so that's our booklet, just like that. So when you open it up, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reverse this so that this hinge is on the front. Burnish it really well. So it looks like that. So I can cover that with my paper. So I'm going to double mat. Got pattern paper and 2 mats. So the first one is the blue that I chose to go with this collection. Is called Sky. And I cut a piece that is 6 7/8 by 6 7/8 because it's a 7 by 7 booklet. So I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Textured side up because this is textured. Can't even say the word. Okay. Glue around the edges and then on the center. Okay. Line that up. I'm going to burnish it with my hands. Kind of get it smoothed out. And of course, I never can get it straight, right? Thought it was straight. It looked straight when I looked at it. That's better. Just have to reposition it really quickly and now burnish. And then I cut from the cardstock that I'm using, the artisan cardstock, another piece. And this one is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. Line this one up. Very narrow margin. All the way around and burnish that. Of course, if you want to conserve paper, you can cut out the squares if you want before you do the matting. And then this, I'm going to put this one on, and this is the B print from the 12 by 12. And I cut this one at 6 5/8 by 6 5/8. And I'm just going to look at it and see if it needs trimmed just a tiny bit from the bottom. I may not have got it cut quite right. So I'm just going to line it up just the tiniest bit and see if that works for me. It's best to cut off just a little at a time. Okay, that's good. Okay, I think this is just adorable, this collection. And of course, I'm going to use the bees on the other side or part of this as well. This is so cute. Of course, it was hard to choose which pattern paper to use on all this. Okay, and then line this up. Make sure the fold of your booklet's over here on the side. Okay, burnish that down. That is so, so cute like that. Okay, I really love that, how that looks. That's the booklet. Of course, I'll be doing some stuff on the inside. But for now, that's that. So I'm going to set that aside and grab my book. The next piece is going to be a large belly band. So we cut this one out at 4.5 by 9. Put your 9 in at the top and score at 1/2 inch and 8.5. And go ahead and fold those toward each other and burnish. So that's going to make the belly band. So we're going to go ahead and put the pattern paper on this as well. So it has a single mat and it is in blue. And so that is 9.5. No. Let's see. Mat is blue, 4 3/8. I'm doing it out of order from what I wrote. 4 3/8 by 7 7/8. So your blue is 4 3/8 by 7 7/8, and your honeycomb print is 4 1/4 by 7 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one on here first and see if there needs to be anything trimmed. Just got a very narrow border, and I think it needs just a bit trimmed off. So always check yours to see. If you want to trim, depending on how much you want to show. So that looks right now. So I'm going to get my glue, and I'm using the side with the tree. Textured side again, and we lay this on here. Well, did I cut crooked? It looked fine a while ago, didn't it? Just a little bit of the blue showing. I could have trimmed it down a little bit more. I think, yeah, I'm going to pull it up really quick. And I'm going to use my scissors because I got the glue on here, and I'm just going to trim a little more as straight as I can with the big scissors. I swear I dry fitted that and it looked fine, but started to say maybe it's time for a break, but I just had a break. Okay. Okay, I think that's better. Then burnish it down. I have to put a tiny bit of glue on this corner where I had my fingers. Okay, that's better. Now for the belly band. So this fits on there. Okay, burnish that down. Okay, so there's the belly band piece. Grab my book. And like I said, this is going to go on the back of that add-on flap that we attached. So I'm just going to attach the bottom one edge. Then I'm going to put my pattern paper on. Or, yeah, I want it underneath. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to attach it to this. I'm going to attach this to this. So this piece here, the blue, is 9.5 by 7.5, and this honeycomb print with Pooh on it is 9 3/8 wide by 7 3/4 tall. So I'm going to glue him on there first and double check before I glue. Okay, so I think I got that one right. It's a pretty big piece, so I'll make sure I've got it right. Okay, burnish that down. It just gives it a little bit of the blue around. If you want bigger border, then you need to cut your paper a little smaller. I do the 1/8 of an inch shorter height than width. Okay, so the belly band, I'm going to attach it to the back of this. And I'm just going to see, I think I want it like that, about in that spot. Book. Okay, so I'm going to put the thumb right here. I'm going to attach just one flap first. So just on the inside, some glue on that 1/2 inch. And attach it to the back of your matted piece. Line it up straight. Okay, open it up on the other side. And it's going to have to scoot just a little bit. It's not going to go right in the fold because this is a little bit smaller. Okay, that's about right. So there's about a 1/16 of an inch space between the fold and the edge of this mat. Okay, so now grab the book, and this should fit in here about like that. Okay, so all of this glues on, including that 1/2 inch back there. Sure it burnishes down on the corners, across the top and the sides, and underneath. Okay, so that's what that page looks like, and then our booklet slides underneath and sits like there. And then of course we're going to put places for photos in there. I think that turned out cute. Got the little Pooh over here peeking out. Got the Pooh here in the tree. Okay, so there's that one. I'll do the inside parts later, and we're going to go ahead and start working on this base page right here. Okay, so now we're ready to do this side. On this one here, I haven't done anything on in the booklet yet. I think I am going to put a magnet here to hold it in place so that when you're flipping through the book, this doesn't come open or anything, but then you can open it and then take it completely out. Okay, so that's something I'm going to be doing probably when I finish up some of things. So that is an option. Or you could do a ribbon, but I think a ribbon would be too close to the edge unless you want to situate it further over. But I kind of like it like that. So anyway, we're going to work on this one next. And so let me get those pieces for you. And the scoreboard. Okay, so for this one, we're going to add a flap at the top of the page. So I've already folded mine up, but I'll open it back up. And we're going to add 3 waterfalls, but we're going to do them a little bit different. I'm going to tell you a couple of options on those. So for the top flap, you want a piece that's 7 by 8.5. So there's the 7. This is the 8.5. Put that in at the top and score at 1/2 inch. Fold and burnish that. That's the top flap. We want 3 for the waterfall that will accommodate 4 by 6 photos. So these are going to be 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. You're going to put your 4 3/4 in at the top. I'll do one with you because I've already done mine. 4 3/4 at the top and score at 1/2 inch. And then fold those up and burnish. And I've cut my pattern paper for my base page, but not for the rest of this. So we'll do that also, but let's get this assembled first. Okay. Okay, grab the book and open it up to there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our flap on, and it's going to center right in here. So we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and put that on. So the glue goes on the back of your 1/2 inch. Probably tired of me saying that over and over. But sometimes we forget, right? And then I want to center it side to side pretty much. Let me get my black sheet of cardstock here. Yeah, so we can see what we're doing. Put it right up to the top. Burnish that on the inside. So that's where the flap is. And it probably will have a magnet down here. And then my waterfalls are going to go on here. But first we're going to add our patterned paper. So for the section here on the base page, this is after the belly band section here. So here we have this section here. I have cut a piece of this blue with dots and the bees for my main top flap. And this one is 6 7/8 wide by 7 7/8 tall. So that's going to glue right here on the front. So on the inside here, so I'm double checking, 6 7/8 wide by 7 7/8 tall. So that glues down right here on the very front. And then on the inside, I've cut a piece from the honeycomb paper, 9.5 wide by 7 7/8 tall. I've cut it, but I'm not going to glue it in because I'm going to cut slits in it and attach the waterfall flaps before we glue it in. So we have those 2 pieces there. I have the pieces cut from the waterfall flaps. So these are all cut at 6 1/8 wide by 4 1/8 tall. And check your scraps to see what you have. I have the blue with the dots and the bees, the blue with the dots and Pooh and the beehives, and then I also have a piece of the honeycomb. So all of these are going to be 6 1/8 wide by 4 1/8 tall, and they glue on just the front side. So I'm not going to attach anything pattern on the other side. So I'm going to double check this again. 6 1/8 wide by 4 1/8 tall. So there's 3 of those that you want to cut. Now on top of the top flap here that I'm going to that we added to the base page, I want to add a flip up photo mat. So I have cut here from the sky blue, my colors cardstock. I have cut a piece that I'm going to make the mat out of, then out of the natural for a mat. So this blue one here is going to be 5 1/8 wide by 6 7/8 tall. Then I cut a mat out of the natural that is 5 wide by 6 3/4 tall. That glues right there on top of it. And then the print is the blue dots with the dots on the bees, and that one is 4 7/8 wide by 6 5/8 tall. Then I have this little piece here. This is going to be the hinge. I had to make a hinge, so that is going to be 5 1/8 wide by 1 inch tall. So let's take the scoreboard. We're going to put the 1 inch in at the top, and you're just going to score it at a 1/2 inch. That makes a hinge because I decided after I designed this that I wanted to add this flip up photo mat, and I had already cut the solid blue. So you can do this at any time. You can change a photo mat into a flip up if you want to. So so let's go ahead and take the, I'm trying to decide if I want to mat first or do the blue. So I'm going to go ahead and mat this on. I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to add the natural color mat onto the sky blue photo mat, the flip up mat. I think you'll see what I mean when you see it all come together. I'm probably confusing you right now. So we're going to glue this down on the blue. Just lining it up. Okay, and burnish that down. And then you take the, I'm going to use the bee side, the blue with the dots and the bees, and cut that piece. Again, I already told you, but that one is 4 7/8 wide by 6 5/8 tall. So glue this one down on top of the natural cardstock. So this is our flip up photo mat. And to make it the flip up, we're going to add that little hinge on the back side. So line this up and burnish it down. Okay, so next I'm going to attach it to, I'm deciding if I want it to be further down. I'm going to make it a slit type flip up. So now I'm going to attach the hinge, put glue on just the 1/2 inch side on one side, and line that up on the very top. I'm looking at the pattern to make sure it's not upside down, on the very top on the back side of my photo mat. Okay, so we have that attached. Now we're ready to add a slit into the pattern paper that goes on that top flap. So for the inside of this flip up photo mat, I cut a piece of the natural cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then I'm cutting down a piece of honeycomb that is 5 by 6 3/4. So I'm going to make that the first piece that goes down, the honeycomb. So I'm just taking notes to make sure I remember to put that in the cutting guide for you. These cutting guides are not easy to keep track of, and I hope that it makes it a little easier for you. I kind of like to have them for myself as well, but it gets hard to transcribe them from my notes sometimes or remember to write everything down. So I'm just measuring right now the blue and getting the size for my honeycomb. And like I said, it is 5 by 6 3/4. So I'm going to cut that right quick, 5 inches wide. by 6 3/4 tall. I'm using the plain honeycomb side with a little wording in it. I know you can't see the cutter on the screen, but I'm just measuring it there at the bottom. So now I've got it cut. So that goes down next. And then on top of that, I will put that natural one that I cut already that is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, which is the size of a photo. So I'm going to glue this one down. So this one goes right onto the blue on the back side. So make sure your hinge is down at the bottom and you get your wording put on there right, even though there won't be a whole lot of it showing. I'll burnish that on. Then I'm going to glue this one next. And then later on, I will add a extra photo mat insert that would just go inside of a little tuck spot, but I do have it written on my notes to include it in the cutting guide. So it's going to be out of the red, the Chinese red, and it's going to be 3 5/8 wide by 5 1/4 tall, and I round the corners on that one. But it will just insert into a little tuck spot that I will make with one of the cut aparts. So for now we have this one matted, and we're ready to put it on the pattern paper here before we glue it to the top flap. So there's several ways you could do that. You could just glue it on like this with the blue and then add a piece of paper if you wanted to, if you don't want to do the slits or the slit with your knife, or you could put it on underneath here and just glue it down and then put your pattern paper strip over it. But I am going to cut one slit in this pattern paper, get my craft mat. I'm going to show you how to do that. So line it up with the top line of one of your grids, making sure I've got it straight. I'm going to need my craft knife and metal ruler works best. So line it up, and I'm going to lay my photo mat down on the pattern paper. I'm just trying to decide if I do want that side or not. I'm putting, okay, I'm going to put some temporary down on it to hold it still because it keeps sliding on me. So I just stick it down with temporary. That's a tip. Sometimes I remember to do that, sometimes I don't. So just temporary tape it down. And now I'm going to line this up where I want my photo mat to be. Kind of centered, putting it centered on the pattern paper. I'll make a tick mark here at the top where my cut starts, and then one at the bottom. And then I'm going to draw a line with the ruler between those. Just getting it, make sure it's lined up and straight. So between there, instead of drawing the line, I'm just going to go ahead and cut between those two marks with my craft knife. Hold that ruler down really tight and stop at your next mark. Sometimes you might have to go beyond it just a little bit. We got the slit there, so now this should slide in just that 1/2 inch. I'm going to make a little angle cut on each end just to make it a little easier to go in. Just like that. Now slide that flap in, just the hinge, and line it up. You fold it over on the back side. And I apologize that I'm off camera a little bit, but I'm just folding it over to make sure that it's straight. And once it's sitting where I like it, where I think it's straight enough, I'm going to erase those pencil marks. Hold it, flip it over, And I'm putting glue under that 1/2-inch flap and attaching it to the back side of the pattern paper. And I apologize that you can't see me doing that right there, but you're just tacking it down. And before I press it down, I'm going to make sure again that it's straight on the front side. So I've got it like that. Now I've got glue on the back side of it, and I'm pushing it down and burnishing it to make it lay flat. So now we have it attached to just the patterned paper. So when you flip it up, I'll burnish that section there. That's where the glue is underneath. And now it's ready to put onto the top flap of the base page. I am dry fitting it to make sure it all fits in right here on that top flap that lifts up. So that's where it's going to glue down into our book, right here on the top flap. So I'm ready to go ahead and glue that on. But before I do, I'm going to add a twine closure. Now you could use a magnet, or you could use twine or ribbon, whatever you want to do. So I'm cutting some twine off, probably about 14 inches, 2 pieces. And I'm going to glue or attach it down on the back side of this main pattern paper piece before I actually glue it down in the book. So I'm using some tape to attach it down. And I think I'll go ahead and secure it with some score tape right there on top of that as well. Make sure it really stays. And then the other end is going to go opposite that. So I'm lining it up. And I'm going to tape the other end on the opposite side. And I'm just using some score tape on that one. I think I'll put down a couple of pieces to make sure it stays. Okay, so now we have that. So I'm going to bring it around, flip it over. So I'm going to go ahead and tie it here in the center. And this will keep this little photo mat flap secure, so it's not flipping open when you're turning the pages of your book. So I like how that looks. So now I'm going to tie the ends so it doesn't fray too badly. So I tie the end on each side and just trim it down. That way you can make the tails of your string the length that you want. Okay, so now we have that. We're going to glue this one down. Okay. So glue on the pattern paper, all of this in here. Glue on that back piece that's already glued down, but we want to make sure it's secure. And then we do glue all the way around across our string here. Whoops, we need to take that backing off. We want to do that as well. If I can do it real quick without peeling it off. It doesn't want to, it wants to stick. Don't you know it would happen? Come on. Glue is going to dry. There we go. Burnish that backing down so you can pull it up. Now we got it. Okay. Glue is okay, I think. Right here on the string. All the way down. Corner. Across the bottom. All right, let's get this on. Okay, burnish it all down. I'm going to tie this so I can lift up, burnish under here. So isn't that neat how you have a flap that's down a ways, but you have it finished like that. So I love how that looks. So there we go. I'm going to just tie that back up. And it is just for this flap. It has nothing to do with what goes on underneath. So I'll make sure I burnish right here. Okay. Oops. Sure it really sticks right there. Okay, so that is that flap there. And now we're ready to do this one. I'm going to do, I think, the same thing. I'm going to be cutting it and putting it onto this layer. So I'm going to set this aside for right now. And let's grab our waterfall pieces and glue the pattern papers on. Okay. So we're going to need our book to see where the flaps are to mark this, but do one like this. And then one scooted down, and then, and you can also, except that I've got a flap. If I didn't have the flap, I could offset them like this, back over this way, because they would just all flip up. But we're going to do them in a row. Get my book so I can line this up and make sure they're under the flap. So this is going to fit right here. Make sure it goes over this 1/2 inch hinge over here on the side, so it goes all the way to the end. Put this under here so we can see. So it goes all the way to the end here, right there. And this is going to fold down, okay? So I'm going to mark the first one, and we do miter just the hinges here. Okay, so this one is going to go, needs to make sure it stays there within this section here, centered right there to right there. Does that look about right? And I'm going to put a mark here and a mark here. Okay, grab a mat. Okay, from right here, it is to right there. Straight. Okay, the knife, point in at that mark. Stop at the second pencil mark. Okay, I'm going to erase the pencil marks this time before I stick anything in. Hope I got it straight. Okay, let's stick it in. Let's see. It's a little too far this way. Let's see. Let's take a look. Oh, it's going to work. It's just a little bit. This up here was not quite centered. So that'll be okay. So I'm going to flip this over and put the glue on the back of my hinge to get all the way through. Okay, turn it around and fit it in there. Make sure it's, oops. I'm lining up right. Nice and straight. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to burnish that down. Okay, so there's that one. So the rest are going to have to follow in place. So let's close this up, move it. Grab the mat. So this one is going to be this verse here. And we're just going to drop it down. I'm not going to butt it up. I'm going to drop it down as much as I want to. So I'm going to bring it to here. Actually, I'm going to draw a line from here to there. Okay, ready to cut. And I'm going to see where my point is. Okay, erase my line. Don't want that showing, especially if I did it wrong. Okay, miter this one. Insert that in the slot. Okay, that looks pretty good. Flip it over. And I'm going to put glue on this back of my hinge. And I'm going to flip it again to make sure it stayed, whoops, where I want it. Okay, double checking all this down here. Flip it over and burnish. Okay, so there's 1 and 2. And the third one is the bees. And let's see how far down it needs to go. We want to make it even, or you can make it farther down. I swear that top one is a little crooked. Okay, I didn't catch that, so let me take this tool here and lift it up some if I can. It's not going to hurt it here on the back. You can't see it. I have to move them both because could have sworn I had that on straight. It's right there. It's not letting me move it. Okay. Country Craft Creations paper is very sturdy, so if you make a mistake and you have to do something like this, it is fine. Okay, so I'm going to slip it up just a little bit if I can, or bring that other one down. About, it's got to go up. And the glue. Let's see. Yep, that's better. See, I was looking at the honeycomb and it too far down. So let's see how the other one looks. It looks about right. Okay, so now then this one. I'm going to push it up a little bit. Right there. Hold it in place. See how it is in here. Oops. Mark right here. And a mark right there. And then I'm going to draw a line. Talking to myself. Nope, that's not straight. Okay, right there. Okay. Last one. Don't be afraid to do these. Sometimes it takes practice. But you can do it. Erase the lines. Miter this one. And let's put it in. And let me close it up. Let's see how she looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. Flip it over. And I'm going to put my glue. Try not to move anything. All right, I'm going to move it back over. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, burnish that on the back side. And there we have it. It's just not centered on this sheet, but it should be right with the other one because I didn't have the flaps centered right. That's because I eyeball it instead of using a ruler like I should. Okay, open this back up. So lift this flap And this will go right under here, over this 1/2 inch over here, line it up here and here. And then when we close this, they should be inside that. And now's when we should do a magnet before we glue anything down. So let me grab a magnet set because I do think it will need one. Okay. So just stick your magnet on the inside of your flap about 3/4 to an inch down in the middle. Match up, backing off, or tape if you're using tape. And then we just close it down. Open it up. Oops, didn't stick. Open it up carefully. And take some tape. Secure it until it's patterned. Because we're going to pattern this top one as well. Okay. Now this one's going to go right here, like I said. So that's why you wanted to get it over the magnet. So glue in this top part here across your sections. Down the side and across the bottom. I'm going to put some around the magnet here. Make sure that I get it. Okay. Flip it over. And we'll line her up. Okay. Burnish. Especially around the magnet here. Underneath. Okay. Love how that looks. So we have that. You can add pattern paper here or leave these for mats, or maybe we'll do some other matting. I'm not going to do that right now. And off camera, I will cut a piece of paper for this and I'll write it on my list, what I use. And so that is that side of the album page. Of course, we will have a mat inside of here. I think probably like a booklet maybe. So we need to do that in the back. It's looking really cute. And not too super thick. Got a lot of real estate, but it still lays flat because of the way we're designing these pages like this. Okay,